I'm 81 years old. I say that slowly now because at this age, every number carries weight. It lands differently in the chest. It echoes. I worked hard for 50 years. Harder than most people knew. Harder than I ever admitted. And today, if I'm honest, brutally honest, I look around and I don't see much to show for it. No empire. No name etched into buildings. No legacy people point to and say, that was his life's work. Just me. A quiet room. A body that wakes up earlier than it wants to. And a question that waited until now to speak out loud. Was it worth it? If that question made you uncomfortable, stay with me. Because this isn't a story about failure. It's a story about timing, about truth arriving late, and about what still counts when the scoreboard disappears. Before we go any further, if you've ever felt tired in your bones, not from age but from trying, if you've ever wondered whether the sacrifices actually added up, press like. Not for me. For yourself. It tells the algorithm you're ready for conversations like this. And subscribe, because this channel is for people who've lived long enough to stop pretending. Now let me tell you how a lifetime can look full from the outside and empty from the inside. I grew up believing a simple equation. Work hard, stay loyal, delay pleasure. And one day, life will hand you a receipt that proves it was all worth it. That belief wasn't stupid. It was inherited. My father believed it. My teachers reinforced it. The world rewarded people who didn't ask questions and kept moving forward. So I did what I was told. I didn't chase passion. I chased stability. I didn't listen to curiosity. I listened to fear dressed up as responsibility. I said yes to overtime. I said no to rest. I said, later. So often that later stopped answering. And every time I felt a quiet resistance inside, every time my body whispered slow down, I ignored it. Because slowing down felt like betrayal of the deal. Here's the first truth I learned too late. When you trade your time for approval, the interest compounds quietly against you. You don't feel it in your 20s. You barely notice it in your 40s. But in your 70s, the bill arrives all at once. People think working hard guarantees respect. It doesn't. What it guarantees is usefulness. And usefulness has an expiration date. I gave companies my best hours. I gave projects my weekends. I gave goals my health. And every time I crossed a finish line, the line moved. No ceremony, no pause, just the next target. I told myself that's how grown-ups live. That wanting acknowledgement was childish. That satisfaction would come later. But later never came. What came instead was silence. When I finally slowed down, when my body forced me to, the phone stopped ringing. The praise evaporated. The roles I thought defined me were reassigned without sentiment. And that's when it hit me. The world doesn't remember effort. It remembers outcomes. And even those fade. That realization doesn't make you bitter. It makes you sober. Here's a lie we don't talk about enough. If you don't push yourself, you'll regret it. Sometimes the opposite is true. Sometimes the regret comes from pushing past yourself for too long. If this is already hitting close to home, leave a comment that says, "Still listening." I read them, and more importantly, others do too. It reminds people they're not alone in these thoughts. Nobody told me the real price. Not the long hours, not the missed vacations, not even the strained relationships. The real cost was internal. I lost my ability to hear myself. I forgot how to sit still without feeling guilty. I forgot how to enjoy a day without justifying it. I forgot how to ask what I wanted without translating it into productivity. I became efficient at living someone else's definition of success. And here's the dangerous part. I was praised for it. Praise is the most subtle trap. It keeps you running on a treadmill you didn't choose toward a finish line that doesn't exist. At some point, ambition hands the microphone to the body. For me, it was exhaustion that sleep didn't fix. A dull ache that lingered. A sense that time was no longer abundant. It was precise. That's when the questions get louder. Who was all this for? What did I postpone that can't be rescheduled? Why do I feel so tired even though I'm finally free? I wasn't afraid of dying. I was afraid I hadn't lived on my own terms. For a long time, I defended my past. I told myself it was necessary, that I did my best, that regret was pointless. But one quiet afternoon, I let myself grieve. Not dramatically, not publicly, just honestly. I grieved the mornings I rushed through, the conversations I half listened to, the interests I dismissed as impractical, the version of myself that kept waiting for permission. And something unexpected happened. The grief didn't crush me. It clarified me. When I say I have nothing to show for 50 years of work, I don't mean I have nothing at all. I mean I don't have the things I was told would matter most. No trophy shelf of fulfillment. No deep sense of completion. No feeling of arrival. What I do have is understanding. And understanding, at this age, is a currency. Here's what I understand now. Life doesn't reward endurance. It rewards alignment. Endurance without alignment is just prolonged discomfort. If you're listening to this in your 40s or 50s, let me say this clearly. You are not late, but you are not early either. You are at the only moment where correction is still gentle. Don't wait for your body to force the conversation. Someday is the most expensive word in the language. Someday I'll rest. Someday I'll travel. Someday I'll speak my mind. Someday I'll choose differently. Someday is a promise we make to silence the present, and then one day, someday becomes never. If I could give you one warning carved from my own life, it's this. If something matters to you, it must exist in your calendar, not just your imagination. I would measure success in energy, not income. I would choose fewer battles and deeper days. I would let some doors close without chasing them. I would disappoint people sooner to avoid disappointing myself forever. And most of all, I would stop asking, "Is this impressive?" and start asking, "Is this honest?" Because honesty compounds faster than ambition ever did. I'm 81. I can't redo 50 years, but I can tell the truth about them. And the truth is this: a life is not validated at the end. It's shaped in the middle and lived in the present. If my story stirred something uncomfortable, don't push it away. Sit with it. That discomfort is wisdom trying to introduce itself. Like this video if it gave language to something you've been carrying silently. Subscribe if you want more conversations that respect your intelligence and your scars. And tell me in the comments, honestly, what would you stop doing if you believed your time was precious again? I'm still listening. There is a strange thing that happens when you work for decades. Time doesn't pass loudly. It leaks. You don't wake up one morning and say, "I've lost 20 years." You wake up and notice your reflection looks unfamiliar. Your knees negotiate before standing. Your patience is thinner, and the calendar feels compressed. The years between 40 and 60 are the most dangerous, not because they're hard, but because they're busy. Busy enough to distract you from asking real questions. Busy enough to convince you you're still in progress. Busy enough to keep you loyal to a version of life that no longer fits. Those were the years I disappeared inside responsibility. I told myself I was being noble, dependable, strong. But what I was really being was absent. Absent from my own interior life. Absent from curiosity. Absent from stillness. I wasn't unhappy, and that's what fooled me. I was functional. Functional is dangerous because it feels like success. You're not collapsing. You're not failing publicly. You're not asking for help, so nobody stops you. But inside, something is thinning out. Joy becomes efficient, rest becomes guilt-ridden, dreams become impractical, and slowly, without drama, your inner life becomes quieter than your obligations. That's how 50 years pass. Here's a regret that doesn't announce itself until it's irreversible. People don't wait. I assumed relationships were elastic, that they could stretch indefinitely, that there would always be another holiday, another visit, another once things calm down. Things never calm down. People age, they move, they get sick, they die. And one day you realize you've been living in maintenance mode with the people who mattered most. I didn't lose people through conflict. I lost them through postponement. That's a quieter kind of grief, but it lasts longer. We glorify sacrifice. We clap for it. We reward it. We build identities around it. But here's the truth I learned too late. Sacrifice without meaning is just loss. I sacrificed sleep for work that forgot me. I sacrificed presence for goals that evaporated. I sacrificed health for timelines that kept moving. And nobody gave me those years back. Because sacrifice is only noble if it leads somewhere you actually want to arrive. Otherwise, it's just slow self-erasure. There was a moment, small, unremarkable, that changed me. I was sitting alone, retired in everything but name, and I asked myself something I had never allowed before. If nobody was watching, would I still choose this life? The answer came immediately. No. And that answer was devastating, because it meant I hadn't been living. I'd been performing responsibility. Before acceptance comes anger. Not explosive anger, contained anger, a low, steady burn. Anger at systems that reward endurance over wisdom. Anger at cultures that confuse exhaustion with virtue. Anger at myself for confusing approval with meaning. I had to let myself feel it. Not to blame, but to wake up. Anger is energy, and at my age, energy is precious. Restlessness isn't a flaw, it's a signal. It means something inside you is no longer willing to be ignored. Don't numb it. Don't outrun it. Listen. Let me redefine success for you, not theoretically, but honestly. Success now looks like waking up without dread, saying no without apology, enjoying something without explaining why, letting a day be enough. That's it. No applause required. And here's the quiet miracle. The less I try to prove, the more alive I feel. People love the word reinvention. At my age, it's a lie. You don't reinvent yourself. You uncover yourself. You peel back the layers of obligation, fear, and expectation until something familiar returns. Not new. True. I wouldn't give advice. I'd ask questions. Who are you tired of pretending to be? What are you defending that no longer deserves loyalty? What would break if you slowed down? Really? Because answers don't change lives. Questions do. Here's the most painful realization of all. Nobody was ever going to give me permission. Not to rest, not to pivot, not to choose differently. Permission is not granted. It's taken, quietly, privately, at cost. And the cost is disappointing expectations that were never aligned with your soul anyway. This is it. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. Time doesn't open doors. Courage does. At 81, what remains is simple. Moments, textures, conversations that aren't rushed, days that don't need justification. I don't need to be remembered by crowds. I need to be honest with myself while I'm still here. Redemption doesn't come from undoing the past. It comes from telling the truth about it. I worked hard for 50 years, and I don't have much to show for it in the way the world measures. But I have clarity. And clarity this late is mercy. If you're listening and you're tired in a way sleep doesn't fix, if you've been successful but hollow, if you're respected but disconnected, hear me. You are not broken, you are overextended, and you don't need a new life. You need a truer one. I'm 81. I won't get another 50 years. But you might. So don't use them the way I did, waiting for proof that never comes. Like this video if it gave shape to a thought you've been avoiding. Subscribe if you want conversations that don't rush you or sell you illusions. And leave me a comment, not for algorithms, but for the others reading quietly. What are you still doing out of habit, that your future self might grieve? I'm still here, still listening. And for the first time in a long time, I'm at peace.